He's been grinding. Brandon Aiyuk has been grinding. Once you get into like week 10 and 11, you better start loading up on backup running back. Start building your bench for upside as opposed to like bye week fillers and safety.
Look at the release.
There's your separation.
Great route.
Stutter and go. Gets by clean.
That is unbelievable.
Maybe the greatest catch I've ever seen.
All right, hey, let's talk about the second half of the season here as we are fast approaching Monday Night Football. Yeah, man, 8 weeks in the books now, almost 8 weeks in the books here. But and we got some interesting questions. So who are some people to keep your eye on in the back half of the fantasy football season? I'll start, and I kind of want to – it's like he's become the poster boy for reception perception, but is Brandon Aiyuk like kind of maybe sort of back? Is he back?
It's worth noting – 88% of the snaps, ran a route on 97% of the dropbacks, ran more routes than Deebo Samuel, had 7 targets, 25% target share, all season highs for Brandon Aiyuk on Sunday. And most importantly, I'm joking about he's grinding his ass off in practice, but Kyle Shanahan said afterwards he played his butt off, was his best game of the season.
Let's go.
And let me tell you what, that 2-point conversion attempt, his catch there, that was a sick route. I do think that he's made some of this has been clearly on Brandon Aiyuk. Like he's made some mistakes in games. He's obviously been making mistakes in practice or whatever, but I could see him being back for the second half. At some point we'll see Trey Lance, I guess. I don't know. That's a weird situation, but I think that was a really good sign. The opportunity being there and then the praise from the coaching staff. I think that was a pretty good sign for Brandon Aiyuk. I still think he's probably better. All of these guys, I still feel this way about Allen Robinson. Beckham, I don't know, man. Beckham is like
Beckham's done. No, Beckham's
done. Beckham's done. The whole. We got a question from Zach, Space Force Ghost, in the Discord about, what about Jarvis Landry's 10 targets? No, I don't want anything to do with the Browns passing attack.
Yeah,
no.
I'm with one-arm Baker.
Yeah, he's. I know why Baker's out there because it's a big money season for him, and he's a gamer and he's a grinder, but like. Beckham, Mayfield should not be playing with that injury. And guys like Aiyuk, guys like Robinson, even guys like Julio, we talked about this earlier. Robbie Anderson, probably, I don't know. That's a nightmare too. But typically,
hey, wait, hold on. Can I say one thing about Robbie Anderson? And I'll let you finish. I'm sorry. Okay. I put him in my daily fantasy lineup this past weekend because I understand that listen, over the last 4 weeks, he has a 34% catch rate, which is like unheard of.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. Unless you're Zay Jones.
But he was also averaging 9.5 targets in over 100 air yards per game. Bro, that 9.5 targets, 100 air yards per game over his last 4, my dog, that's top 10 wide receiver volume. And you're getting him in DFS for like nothing, right? Like he's like less than $4,000 on DK. So I was just like, I'm just going to play the numbers here. I'm just saying, like, if we're talking about like, this is a game of volume, and it is, Robbie Anderson is somebody that you need to keep an eye on, I think.
All of these guys, like I said, the Aiyuks, the Robinsons, the Julios, the Robbie Andersons, Beckham's the only one that I think, because I think the whole passing infrastructure is broken there. All of those guys they're better on the end of your bench than than somebody else's. Okay. Cause
that's a great
proven talent. And obviously Robinson and Julio are proven talents that have been dealing with injuries this year. Robinson's situation is kind of a nightmare. But Aiyuk's less proven, but he was legitimately one of the best receivers to end last season. He was not just from reception perception good, but statistically he was great last year and fantasy points per game in the final few weeks of the season. So we know he can play. You want those guys on the end of your bench. This is a good time, especially you have to assess your own bye week situation too, because if you did go through that bye week hell a couple of weeks ago with the Chargers and the Steelers and the Cowboys and the Vikings, you're through your bye week gauntlet. Start getting rid of the bench guys. You're trying to think of a good example of a player who's this is a mid-level bench replacement or something. He's a wide receiver 5 that I can plug in here and hope for 7 targets and a touchdown.
Khalif Raymond.
Yeah, that's an extreme example, but I totally agree with you. You know, you're I don't want to say Cole Beasley because I mean he has bigger games than that, but like sort of that. You know, Cole. I wouldn't drop Cole Beasley. Okay, I guess that's more, but like a Darnell Mooney or something, or you know, Christian Kirk, Jamison Crowder. Start thinking about getting upside on your bench as opposed to those guys. Once you get into like week 10 and 11, you better start loading up on backup running backs, like, and not your backup running back, but like if you've got Najee Harris, add you know, a backup from another team. You know, get those stashes on your bench, like start building your bench for upside as opposed to like bye week fillers and safety. Okay. Right. Luke suggested AJ Green in the chat. Yeah. Like AJ Green's a great example. He's in that like wide receiver 40 range in the rest of season rank, but between 40 and 50 in rest of season rankings. But in a normal week, you probably are not going to want to start AJ Green. I think your team should be better than that. You know, like I would rather have a guy like Rashad Bateman than an AJ Green. Like AJ Green might get more volume on a week-to-week basis, but give me the guy with some upside there.
We're at the point now where I think you could kind of sort of plan to either make a playoff push or take some big swings and misses. So I don't know, man. That's a good call. That's a good call. And by the way, that's the way you should be playing fantasy anyways. Big swings, big misses. Big swings. Let's go.
Yeah. From a strength of schedule standpoint too, like this is a good time to start looking ahead at some teams. The Eagles actually have a really easy strength of schedule going forward. So that's one to think about. The Colts have an incredibly easy strength of schedule going forward. So like Michael Pittman, start thinking about him as a top 12 receiver, like start being a little forward thinking with your guys. Like if you had Mike Williams and Michael Pittman on your fantasy team, and it's like those guys had been 1 and 2 for you, those expectations might start flipping, stuff like that. The 49ers have an easy rest of the season schedule. So like Brandon Aiyuk, maybe that's a good sign for him. Really good sign for a guy like Eli Mitchell. So start thinking that's, I think, kind of the way to go there. Cowboys, Raiders, 49ers, Ravens, and the Panthers, they all have pretty good, like they're top 5 in terms of strength of schedule going forward, just for like fantasy points allowed to the position. So do keep in mind those players. I will also read off the running back strength of schedule if everybody gives me just 2 seconds as well. Top 5 there. Eagles, as I mentioned. Texans. Boom. Oh, Jesus.
David Johnson, let's go.
Oof. I mean, honestly, though, yeah, maybe. I know it was bad last week, but like they played the Rams. They were always going to get smoked by the Rams. The Giants, the Dolphins, the Broncos, they're all top 5 there.
Let me give some people some hope on the David Johnson front, okay? Because first of all,
okay, go for it.
First of all, they have done absolutely nothing with Laramie Tunsil on the sideline. It's a bad offensive line to begin with, but at least Tunsil gave you some stability there, right? Yeah. He's coming back soon. Tyrod Taylor is coming back soon. And so this offense, I think, starts to get a little bit healthier. David Johnson, I think, he's an RB3 flex to me, and you're hoping he gets a lot of checkdowns. That's what you would hope for. So we'll see.
Last note that I will just say on like ways to prepare yourself for the rest of the season. Like I said, always be adding bench upside. But also some of these struggling offenses like that we've talked about that have easy strengths of schedule. The Seahawks, the Chargers are among them. We talked about them earlier in the show. The Chargers, at least. Seahawks, like I think we saw that, like, it's these receivers can be okay when Geno Smith doesn't have to play the freaking Steelers and the Saints, like when he can get a cupcake, that's fine. So, think about that there. And
let me, first of all, I want to own my mistakes, and I have many, and I will own them. Let me just say to the people out there, okay, I know I've spoke ill of Tyler Lockett. He went off, big mistake. I spoke ill of Michael Carter, and he just went freaking to the moon last week. In my own defense, I don't think anyone saw this rando quarterback putting up a literal historic game. Literally, there has never been a quarterback that has put up 400 yards with that number of touchdowns in their very first start in the NFL.
Him and Cam Newton have gone over 400 yards in their first start.
It's so crazy, man. Come on. What is going on out here? It's nuts.
On behalf of Tyler Lockett, I accept your apology.
There you go. There you go. And I do apologize because I put him in the dirt and I put him in there prematurely.